Hello everybody, I'll give it that minute to let people log on. My last night in Edmonton, it's already over, and I barely saw anybody, barely, and didn't even get together with my party, but we have a tremendous video here. I can't believe, while I was at the mall going through my Twitter, I just catching posts, and I do want to reach out to Christy Belcourt. I hope people are responding to that and are going to make that happen. I tagged several First Nations persons in that. I really need to meet her and talk to her. We were at an event in 2019. I never really talked to her, I don't think. Maybe I did. But she's got some things going on Twitter. And it's important for Tina Maravich and a lot of the Eastern First Nations people out in Ontario and all the unceded or off reserve out there. I really got to connect these people together. We got to, I'll give this to Tina. You really actually showed me quite a bit. And I actually should have tagged Suzette Powder. I got to put you two together and Gina Bruno as well too, because there's lots going on here, and I have a monumental amount of work, but just because of the media, and this is left and right again, doesn't matter. And I want to break this down for Canadians. Ezra Levant goes on, and there's Canadian media sensations and Canadian people with lots of following, and these ridiculous idiocrats, meaning idiocracy, meaning they don't have the intellect to even know what they're talking about, and they claim media status, they get media status, they write stories, and it blows me away. I went to school, I got an arts degree, I've sat around politics, I've written stories, the government pays me to write stories. Ezra, I know your whole history, and I know you've written books, and you get a following in agendas and narratives. You're no different than the CBC in a lot of respects. At least CBC will cover international news and do stories on that stuff even when it's not the narrative, like they've already have a pre-programmed narrative from our filthy, corrupt politicians. Ezra's right in there like a dirty shirt too. And what happened here today, everybody? Ezra tweets about civil rights and he starts going off about, these people, they're burning down churches, they're all against religion, taking away religious rights. And you're fighting for civil liberties. How is that a civil liberty? Well, Ezra Levant, civil rights are not your charter rights, and they're definitely not your human rights. Learn this stuff, people. This isn't for my followers or friends. This is absolutely for all those who go out and claim journalism status, get funding from the government to write stories, or go to all of you begging, selling you bags and bags of lies. I don't mean to pick on just Ezra. He's not the only one. CBC, in a large, massive majority of paid journalists, don't have a frickin' clue about this. It's sick, it's disgusting, it's totally wrong, everybody. This video is huge, it's important to share, it's important for more and more Canadians to learn the truth. Civil rights are not your charter rights, not the Bill of Rights, nothing supposedly enshrined by your filthy, corrupt crown in charter or Bill of Rights. You read that, that's not your civil rights. Each and every province and territory holds absolutely all of your civil rights, 100%. Federal government, the Charter, Bill of Rights for Quebec, which was the rights for Canadians before that, before 1982, doesn't matter. Your Charter, your Bill of Rights have absolutely zero. There's not a single civil right Canadians that maybe even don't even know what civil rights really are. You think of the USA, blacks fighting for civil rights. Buses, municipalities, again, under the state, not the federal government. Blacks fighting for civil rights, to be able to sit in any seat they want on a bus and not have to stand before a white person or any other nationality gets a seat. That's civil right. That was USA civil right. Nothing to do with American rights placed in the Bill of Rights. Nothing to do with it. That's why they had to fight for the state civil right. Now, there was American action on the executive and the federal government, and they did mandates to force states to give the civil rights, which got enshrined in state constitutions. To this day, Canadians, you have zero civil rights. The civil rights given to you and placed in acts of legislatures, separate in every province and territory, were fought by blood and death by Canadians who fought tooth and nail, splitting people open with 2x4s in the head. I hate to tell you this. You don't have any civil rights, nothing enshrined. There is not one constitution of any province or territory, never has been, through the entirety of Canada. Now, USA did that a long time ago. In fact, some states already did that before they even became the Union of the United States, before independence. Civil rights are something that people have to fight for in their regions. And in Canada, that's province territory. Unregistered constitutions, meaning there's nothing in writing for you. Just violence perpetrated by Canadians against the government and against institutions of the government in our entire history. Through all of it, from 1867 onward, Canadians fought for civil rights because there aren't any, not any today. Acts and legislation, superior courts, and absolutely your Supreme Court of Canada backed up your civil rights because people were getting murdered. That's a fact. Bludgeoned and murdered. That's how you got any civil rights in any act or bill, because politicians crapped their pants provincially with their ultimate autocratic power and finally gave you that. Now in the last 2 years, you've lost a tremendous amount. Dozens of civil rights that are gone forever right across Canada. Poof, gone forever. You talk about charter, you talk about Bill of Rights. Those are ironed out rights, but absolutely privy to the Crown power, meaning they decide which ones you get, and they can, anytime they want, enact laws at the provincial level to strip you of civil rights, to force you to give up your charter rights, which is exactly what they've been doing. They've been doing it before COVID. Canadians, Ezra Levant, all media, journalists, go look this up. Go do some real work. Go like I did. Go to the best universities in the world. iConnect gives you a whole list of the top universities in the world. Guess who's been to all of them? And then a whole shitload more. You're looking at them, you're talking to them. I'm the only Canadian who seemingly knows and has done the research to figure out what actually are civil rights, where do you find them, and how you get them. Well, in Canada, you can either kill people to get them in mass numbers and make your government piss their pants and absolutely give up their autocratic power and legislate those rights. But just remember, any majority government coming in can remove those civil rights when they think you're not paying attention, and there won't be any backlash. Many people have gone to jail and died for your civil rights in Canada. We don't have any. We're nothing like the United States. We're not even in the caliber of Russia, who has tremendous civil rights. Their people did fight for them, but guess what? Their regional constitutions, 85 of them, designed in 85 regions, got that power. Putin can't take that power from them. Oh, bet you none of you knew that. This is reality. I've done work on over 205 constitutions across the world, plus any regional constitutions. I'm the only one doing that work. Only one doing that work. Do you know how many people out there are federalists? Just like Jason Kenney? A shitload. A shitload of academics believe 100% in federalism. America is a miracle that there were that many regionalists in charge of building the American Constitution. They're just lucky. I don't know if it's fluke or whatever love that people had, or maybe it's because those first 13 already had constitutions before they were going to union, and then they wanted to protect that regionalism, and they knew the importance of it. Somehow Russia did it too, even going into communism and the rest of it. from the Imperial. They had regional constitutions, and they wouldn't give that up for nothing. Canada transmits the same power. In 1867, the UK says, give the regions constitutions. Here's your country status, but make sure all territories and provinces administer constitutions. And not one filthy single premier in all of our history would ever give that to you. Why would they want rules of governance, how to govern, or any kind of accountability, or give you, the people, any power? Why should they? The federal government doesn't. First Nations, again, for the umpteenth time, you don't exist in the Constitution, not whatsoever. Neither do you, the people, Canadians. You don't exist. The only people who exist in the Canadian Constitution, ironed out in writing, official, by law, or first-class autocrats, politicians. That's it. That's all there is. That's all you get. That's all you get. That's Canada. A million times worse than anything you can throw at us now today. You can say China's bad. I'm going through this on Twitter. China did this. Where did China do any of these atrocities? Well, nobody can get in there to get the evidence. Well, the P5 aren't backing you up, Canada, or any of these Canadians. Your filthy parliament passed a law going after China after just not even a decade ago giving China full access to Canada and signing a 31-year deal. I didn't see Liberals fighting it. Didn't see NDP fighting it. Look at the opposition. Harper got that pushed through, Privy Council. And nobody cried or made a shit stink. Not one person. They're all in it for the money. Because again, none of you exist. Charter rights, Bill of Rights, all these people grabbing this stuff. You got stupid politicians with a law degree. Derek Sloan, worst of the worst, law degree. Look at, this is a charter. For 900 years in constitutional monarchies, you can wipe your ass with every charter ever written. All the way back to Magna Carta. I can show you history after oppression after history. Look at Ireland. They were taken, if you got married in Ireland under a charter, oh, there was a charter that promised you all these rights. Do you know what England did to Ireland over that charter? Well, our laws and our military might says we're going to rape all your wives. If you get married in Ireland, the Lord or Baron gets to have a first go at your wife, basically rape her. That's real history. Where was the charter then? King mandate. Just like today, politician mandate. Your charter, gone. I'm not going to allow you to have those rights. Give me a bunch of money, pay my taxes, give me a little extra, and maybe I'll give it back to you. Oh, sorry. You gave me $20 million this year, but guess what? This foreign special interest just gave me a whole count for myself on top of that, plus a foreign property and stakes in a bunch of companies. Gave me a bunch of shares in a company. And I get to be on a board once a month after my political time is over for the rest of my life, making $1 million a year. Sorry, I threw your rights in the garbage. Thanks for all the money. I said I was going to fight for him, but I don't have to read the Constitution. I can steal everything from you. You're not in the Constitution. I'm in the Constitution. That's your politician. Every single one, every party. Then there's human rights. Canada's made commissions, promises, Indigenous, don't worry. Just let us genocide you another 6-7 decades. Don't worry. We got all these tribunals, courts, ICJ. We've done it all. It's all for you, except for it's voluntary for the government. They don't have to enforce. Nothing's enforceable, and they don't have to go there if they don't want to. You go to the Supreme Court, you challenge your own government on human rights instead of going to the ultimate court in the world, the real one since 1945, given to you all by the Allies. No one's ever gone there before. I'm the first one, screaming it for years. Planning a case, had to shift gears because somebody decided we got to cut this guy off and quickly screw over the First Nations one more time. Your human rights belong absolutely to the Allies. They decide, and they have decided, they've enshrined those as God-given, each and every one of them. regardless of communism, regardless of constitutional monarchy, regardless of civil law, France, or regardless of absolutely we the people, USA, Republic. And just so you know, they're all republics, guys, except for the UK. China's a republic, France is a republic, USA's a republic, Russia's a republic. All different systems inside a republic. People who tell me, oh, we got to be a republic, a republic, a republic. Well, that all depends what kind of republic you want to be, because you can be communist being a republic. Systems of governance. This is why constitutionalism is the absolutely only way. Right now, every Canadian, and all of you watching this video right now, civil rights, human rights, charter rights, that should all be constitutionally mandated, along with rules of governance, how to govern, and absolute accountability through checks and balances every step of the way. I have the greatest minds in the world, 2 years of it. Started with one coming out to see me. Next you know it's 5, then it's 10, and it just goes like this for me. Did you know that? Goes like this. Now I have to get across Canada to every First Nations group, try to unify them and explain to them where I see the West hasn't seen the trials and tribulations of the East, who's already done all the things that they think they're going to do going forward. It's scary. Just like Canadians, groups divided, people divided, terribly propagated. This has nothing to do with race or anything else. First Nations Canadians, you're both in the boat. Whether it's the canoe or the boat, you're both in the bottom and somebody's sitting on you and there's water coming in and you're all drowning. And they do this to you over and over and over again. And they get you every time. There is no way out in the system of colonial Canada as it is unless we all get together, which means the third and second class plus absolutely all the First Nations across Canada in one narrative together, meaning settling the claims, self-government and self-determination, absolute. No ifs, ands, or buts, which means taking that 79% of Canada that none of us are allowed to touch because it's provincial crown land, federal crown land. It's not Queensland anymore. It hasn't been Queensland absolutely since 1952. Why do they call it provincial and federal? It hasn't even been since Westminster, but officially and completed by King George VI, as he did for many regions, many empire countries or colonies of the period. He went through a bunch, but he died while he was doing Canada. This is fact. And Canadians don't know any better. First Nations don't know any better, because in the Constitution, the politicians have always been allowed to lie to you. And that day in 1952, when Liberals and Conservatives jointly said, we'll keep it a secret, we'll keep the crown for ourselves, and from that day forward, every elected Prime Minister who wins, majority, minority, doesn't matter, they get the full power of what is titled Queen Elizabeth II, absolutely in the Constitution of Canada. She is forbidden, been forbidden her entire reign. The best experts in the world are going to tell you all this. I don't know how we're going to reach everybody. I really don't. When you got left and right propagated media, when even Ezra Levant is nothing more than a dumbbell. He's a dumbbell. He knows nothing except to propagate in this constitutional monarchy. Is all Canadian journalists do, sitting there professing to be these great and wonderful first-class citizens who think they're so much better and knowledgeable than everybody else, and they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. And I hate to talk like that, everybody, but this is reality. Left, right, doesn't matter, and the poor third, second-class citizens and the poor First Nations are no wiser to it. They come up with the same ideas in different narratives over and over again, only to get bent over and whacked right across the ass by the biggest, loudest, hardest impact battle there is. And they keep propagating, and you keep falling for it. First Nation leaders, the third-class leaders, regardless of political party, because it's all corrupted to crown. There is no democracy. There is no First Nation. There is no Canadian in the Constitution of Canada. It's all a farce, a fraud. And it's even worse than it was back then, because since 1952, there isn't politician versus crown anymore. It's politician is crown. Absolute autocrat. People talk about communism, try crown colonial communism or crown colonial democracy, because that's what we kind of are, or crown colonial constitutional monarchy. That's absolutely what we are. Does it really matter when you say crown colonial? Look at what colonialism is. Look at the autocracy of the period. Might over what's right. Your government is might over all of you, the people. First Nations, you got it the worst. But not very far apart from you is the third-class citizen. If you look at the history of those original settlers who came here by the boatloads running away, and you look at what the crown was from where they ran from, you will find the Irish, all of them, in absolute starvation mode. All of them. Slaves, serfs on land, just like what was perpetuated nearly for the African American in slavery. Just about there. Just about. He said it's not slavery. You live on the land, work for the baron, give all your wealth over, live on rotten potatoes if there is any. The king comes through, takes everything from you whenever they want. It's no different than being a cotton picker. Slave. A little bit better, but not really absolutely by much. Same atrocities, rapes, colonialism has never, ever been anything but pure fucking evil. Worldwide. For 300 to 500 years. Absolute the worst of the Dark Ages. The worst kind of system. Worse. People always focus on Rome. That's colonials focusing on Rome. And the games. Yeah, they had a third-class system. But the colonialism sure cemented and ironed that, didn't they? They come out of it and they go, we're going to have a church and a state where we have a supreme God, which is your monarch, your politician. They will be God over everybody. And they'll determine what rights you have, how much oppression, what human rights are, if you're even deemed human. And I can promise you all, if you were not white and you were not of the first class, you were not deemed a human being, or at a low-level dog-like human being. First Nations, blacks, Asians, you were not. You were not a human being in that system. Only the very light Japanese who embraced colonialism were allowed in because they followed the godlike power of the ultimate monarch, imperial monarch. That's the truth. This stuff's all real. In real history, it's there. Every major academic in the world, in law, history, will back this up, what I'm saying to you, 100%. You can't even find somebody to say I'm lying. You can't. Facebook can't even do it. They're like, oh shit, we can't even hit this guy. You know what I'm being targeted on now by Justin Trudeau? The groups I'm a member of, which I'm going to tell everybody something else. I talk to the radical left, the radical right, and everybody in between. Do you know, as a politician, your job is to absolutely talk to every citizen? Why would you keep out the citizens of the country? You try to educate, you try to reach them as best you can, find some way of educating to people. I talk to everybody. Canadian politicians now tell you, oh, don't talk to this group, don't talk to that group. We're going to outlaw this group, outlaw that group. There are bad people out there. There's bad narratives, there's fake narratives, there's bullshit left, bullshit right. I get it. Do you just abandon those people? Radicalize them and say, get out of here, get lost, I hate you. You're not allowed to be in any of my politics. Now, I'm not saying you have to be abused. You don't. You don't have to be assaulted or have your rights infringed on. No, of course you're going to block those people. But if people are willing to talk and you say, no, because of what they believe in, they're to be removed from all politics, meaning governance, they're going to be taxed, but they're not allowed to have any say in any governance. That's wrong. That is not democracy, and there's nothing righteous about that. That is Canada in its full autocracy, saying what you're allowed to believe in, what you're allowed to say, what you're allowed to think. Now, there are human rights that protect people from allowing people to do hateful, hurtful things. But when you need to educate people, when you need to get truths out to people, why would you block that? I know there's so many fallacies. I get it every day. I just had a good woman from Ontario. She's a good woman. I'm not going to say her name. She sends me a link, and it's the Warrior Calls bullshit. Another one from that woman, that Filipino woman, saying she's going to be in charge of the state. She's an idiot, a fraud, a scam. So's the Warrior Calls. I'm going to tell you all right now. You can go on the ICC website. I'll tell you right now. In 40 million Canadians, I'm the only one who is in the ICC this year. The only one. I'm the first person to even bring First Nations forward. They never even knew about ICC before this. Sure, those lawyers wrote a letter. It's been received. Where's your receipt? I can show you the website. There's nothing on there. Right now, for all those people running down China, that is the only P5 member keeping this alive. And 4 of those members absolutely did not dispute or debate it. Russia's pissy right now. They're not too happy with First Nations. I'm going to add that to absolutely Perry Bellegarde's letter that I'm sending him, and I'm going to tag Russia in it on the same email. And I will let Perry see that, and he can decide if he's going to talk to UNSC Russia and explain to him as a leader in the First Nations. There's so many narratives for Canadians, Canadian would-be leaders, and First Nations leaders. It's no different, regardless of race or what cultural advancements or political ideology. You're all in the same boat of bullshit, getting screwed over, and it will continue forever. As long as we remain a constitutional monarchy with crown-embedded colonialism, absolute of our Constitution, you're never going to be free. None of you. And it's only going to get worse and worse. Canada's never going to prosecute any kind of genocide. And even if they do, they will fight tooth and nail to make sure that third-class citizens held liable for literally their atrocity. A human rights grievous atrocity committed by a vast amount of politicians. Federal, provincial, and municipal, but municipal absolutely is the provincial. Which again goes to no civil rights, a charter or bill of rights you can wipe your ass with, throw it away, and that leaves you only the promised human rights by the international community. That is historically the only reason why, besides bludgeoning and murder, the Canadians ever got any civil rights or charter rights or got those rights because of what happened on the world stage and world wars. Don't trust your politicians. You've never been able to trust any federal party whatsoever since 1952. And you can add all the provincial and territorial governments of every party, because not one of them has ever wanted to lose their crown power through Governor General controlling the courts. They don't want constitutionalism, even though it's mandated, even since 1867. We can't blame the UK anymore. That ended absolutely in 1945. Finished, completed, sayonara, 1952. Officially gone forever. The only blame is squarely and solely on the politicians. And there's levels of that. We can go all the way back to 1867 and how much levels of accountability there is. And it only goes like this. To what it is today, they're 110% liable for all of it. But until you all say enough's enough, First Nations, third, second-class citizens come together and say, it's time. It's time we write rules of governance and keep these bastards in check. It's time to abolish this absolute, disgusting colonial system that the world's ranked illegal. You can go on ICC right now. China brought Canada up on the same list as what's in ICC right now, brought up by all the allies and all 13 United Nations Security Council representatives elected. All 18 together unanimously brought up the same countries that you can go on ICC's website who are all being investigated. And for the first time on the 28th, after my presentation, Canada was introduced by a P5 member, China, and presented. And it was a debate, everybody. And not one UNSC rep, whether permanent P5 or the other permanent elected reps without the veto, none of them disputed China. Go watch the 3-hour video. Not a one. I gave it to all of you. There is nothing, not a single politician who can speak up today and say, that's not true, or we're going to do this. There isn't even a media that can do that. And I'm waiting for the first media to say it, and they won't. They're going, church, church, church. All the politicians, church, 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 church. Because anything, their last-ditch effort to stop this from going forward. Only one senator in our sworn to Prime Minister Senate, absolutely appointed for life, zero democracy of your upper house. Show me that around the world. Oh crap, we're super, super autocratic. We have the most expansive executive power of any government for thousands of miles. Russia, give me a break, not even close. Putin's not even close to what Canada is. So what? We have a multi-party system. They all graduate to the crown, and you all get thrown in the garbage. You think he can just do that in Russia? No. 85 regional constitutions. He would have civil war all over, and they're all armed to the nuts. Just look at the 5 regions around Ukraine. Look at that. It's full out bloodshed. That military's already been there. Check it out. USA, all the states have the same thing. You think the federal government can just go slap around any state they want? They find out the state has its own military too. They know it. It's constitutional. Read the state's constitution. You'll find many are like that. Canadians don't really know a whole lot. And I know that. And why is that? Because we have a terrible, terrible, evil crown colonial education system, propagated universally across every province and territory. Education is provincial and territorial power. Can't blame that on the federal government. So who wants to keep everybody stupid and ignorant? The provincial and territorial governments. They're the ones keeping you dumbed down. Why? Because they've made an autocratic deal with the devil at the federal government. We like no democracy. Zero accountability, zero rules of governance, zero rules of how to govern. They govern any way they want and steal like mad, mad, mad against all of you. They will do this absolutely forever. For the entirety of Canada, they will genocide anybody they want to whenever they want. First Nations, this is not going to end. China tells you this. They tell you this. Right live in USC. They tell Canada, you change this system so this can't happen anymore. Because it will. Every ally knows colonialism only breeds this. World War I, World War II. Sorry guys, it only gets worse. Canada will only continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse. You're all going to lose. First Nations saying, oh, we're highly popular now, we're coming back, we're going to... No, you're not. You're not. You're living in substandard poverty, third-class conditions by a large margin. Just like unions, they buy out a few unions here and there, the smaller ones, to steal the vote. Next elected government, same thing. They throw out a few bucks to buy votes. buy your support. That's not democracy. In many countries, that comes with a death sentence. Did you know that? You get caught buying votes, you get your head cut off. That's reality. Get charged for treason in the States, you get caught buying votes, you're going to jail. Check out their treason laws, state by state, who are in charge of all the elections, by the way. There's so much people don't know. So much. And Canadians, First Nations, it's not your fault. You don't exist in your Constitution. You don't. Politicians exist. They decide what you're to know. They decide what you're going to hear on TV. They decide what you're going to read in the newspapers. Well, they don't force it. They're not like other propagandist countries. It's real easy for them. They steal all your tax dollars and they pay journalists by the story. If you write this story, we'll give you 10 grand. Oh, that story? Here's the editor. Oh, I can't run that story or we don't get paid. Can't tell that kind of truth. That goes against the crown. Can't write that story, sorry. If we do, we won't get paid by the taxpayers. You're paying to dumb yourself down. That's what the government does. All governments do it. Every single one. When media relies on absolute taxpayer subsidy, they're absolute, fully empowered socialists. A communism. A worse kind. A crown colonial communism. People wonder about all this health and why the healthcare system. Absolute socialist money. There's no private industry there. They're all 100% socialist. Rely on you, the taxpayer. You pay for their indoctrination. Education, same thing. The governments love this. There's no such thing as conservative, liberal, NDP, Bloc, Green. They got a couple key policies, but when you see their giant rollout, like Pierre Poilievre just rolled out, you'll see that there's over 180 policies that have nothing to do with conservatism whatsoever. Sure, he brags about his 4 or 5 policies. Oh yeah, and you're all like, yeah, share, love it, because people can't seem to read more than 1:30 like this video. A lot of people won't go through it, won't share it. That's just human nature. We're all busy. But they are destroying you. And they'll continue to destroy you. We're never getting out of this till you unite First Nations and the third and second class. First Nations, you can't do it alone. First Nations have already tried. I can show you in Upper Canada how they've tried, even recently, just 5 years ago. Nowhere near even close, not even close. Couldn't even get a minority's minority. That's not to be mean. I couldn't get a minority's minority. I got registered, I guess, 5th place, but the spread was so huge. We need to unify. You can have your regional constitutions for First Nations, just like Canadians can. Reserve by reserve, group by group. Extreme land settlements. The redder your blood, the more land you'll get. To the point where you'll be financially wealthy and not have to rely on anybody, and you don't need to be smart, because we're going just like white people. Don't take that the wrong way. Just like white Canadians, because we have stupid asshole politicians. We've always had stupid asshole politicians, and they're only getting worse. They're not getting better. They're not getting better. We elect dumbbells, and the worst thing we can do is elect dictators and destructive forces of nature in human rights, which we do all the time. And then we throw them out, grab a new one, but it's a dumbbell, so you economically suffer. This doesn't have to be. We can all, in one shot, for $140 million, that's all First Nations in every single reserve, community, off reserve, full presentations, absolutely all communities for all Canadians, each and every one, best experts in the world, one end of the country to the other, from top to bottom, reaching every Canadian for $140 million. Town hall after town hall and constitutional conventions for the federal and provincial, absolutely by the world's greatest experts to teach you every single step of the way. Ask any question, bring up your presentations, they'll run through it, teach you the history as it really is. The entire world. It isn't a guy like me. I'm only building the system to deliver that to you. That's what I do. I don't want to be the grand poobah of Canada. I want to be just an average Joe like I am. But that's what it takes. I'm sorry, everybody. It takes an average Joe Jane to do this. You'll never get a filthy, corrupt politician. They're all sworn to the crown. You won't get a lawyer, all sworn to the crown. You won't get a judge, all sworn to the crown. They're all sucked into it. Military, police, that's what they swear. Look at the oath of allegiance for all these groups. There's no way out. Only the third, second class, and the First Nations can get us out of this. And that requires unity. It means no more left and right. Realize we are in a pyramid system, always have been, of an elite who has God status in the Constitution. They are the divinity of your creator, or divinity of whatever God you wish to believe in. They are that divinity. They've proved it. They'll take it all away from you anytime. They commit gross human rights atrocities, and still they go unaccounted for it. Why is that? Well, because we're an absolute autocracy, no different than the rest. UNSC's woken up to it. In time, you're all going to see as this proceeds. I'm trying to do a UN resolution. We need all of you. Thank you. That's my video today. Share, share, share. It's got to get out there. You've got to get many people looking at this. It's not about my shirt, my clothes, or who I am. I am a third-class citizen, an average Joe Jane, just like the rest of you. That's what it takes. I'm sorry. I can put on a suit. I have a couple suits. But what's that for? That's for the right place, the right time. 38 degrees, summertime. I'm not wearing no suit, giving you a presentation on my personal Facebook. Show me a politician who does that. I'm not scripted. I'm not planned. There's nothing. Just me and all of you. Reality, the truth. Thank you. Goodbye now.